break down us as a human being as sum of parts, then there are 5 parts, i.e. obviously the spirit, the body, the mind, the heart, and the feeling, the nafs. As in each component could be trained, and you can learn in this path, not only with your body, but with your mind, with your heart, with the nafs, to train. So whatever the function it has, through that function, it can reach to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's the beauty of, the Mashaykh Tariq Muhammad, especially Shaykh Ahmad al-Baqi in this 21st century, has presented it. It's based on obviously from the change of the Sahabas and the Awliya down to this century and this time, that you can train your mind. Because remember, each faculty, each component of ourselves has its own function. So body has a function of the 5 senses, mind has a function of thinking and processing information, the nafs, the emotional self, has a function of giving the energy, the passion, that desire. Thank you. And then the habits and the character, who we are, and the reflection of our moral self. That's a reflection of, obviously, towards our heart and who we are. So here we're discussing about how we can then also train and our spirit, and so that we can increase our faith in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the hereafter, and the belief, certain level of increasing our yaqeen, our convictions. So what are the convictions that I mentioned? The faith increases. 3 basic ones. There are more in between, but the 3 basic ones mentioned are. Quick, Ahmed, what was the first one? Yep. What's ilm al-yaqeen? Brother here, what's your name, brother? Hamza, you from? Slough. So what's this? What's that in English? Plain English? No, that's high level. It's when you have a reliable source of information that you trust and you believe in that without seeing. That's ilm. For example, like if I were to say, you trust me in my saying, and he's a trustable brother. Brother said that there's a massive traffic in London today, or there's a train strike. You believe him because he works in London, he travels. I can trust him. It's reliable information. There's a train strike. Now, just to get more convinced, there's another level, just to reassure that information. What's that? So how can I reassure further to know that there is a train strike and not just information without any other source? What's the next level, Jawad? That I know is definitely there's I'm more convinced now. No. So what I'm saying, think of it. You just heard someone told you there is a train strike in London, yeah, and you believe in it because the source through which you heard this is reliable. Now, how can you increase that? I could say that being convinced. Yeah. So, for example, you put it on TV, you watch the news clip or live footage or some kind of your family sending a video saying, look, no trains are running, train tracks are all dry, train tracks, there's nothing running on it. And you see BBC information, whatever it is, and it's reliable. So you're more convinced now. Surely, if you were to plan to go to London or to go to Manchester, you say avoid trains because there's no train today. You have to go use public transport or private transport. Okay, how can you increase that further? That makes me completely certain that there is no train line running today. Okay, Mikhail, I'll come back to you. Brother at the back, were you there before session? By being going to the Houston train station or whichever you go there, and you go there and see all the trains are parked up, nothing are running, and you go and ask the person at the desk, by the way, when's the next train? You could say journey to Manchester. They said there's no journey. It's all stalled for today. So then you're certain you can phone me. By the way, yeah, that's true. News information you heard or you've seen on the news is true. I'm there at the train station now. Give live footage, live news that it is all all bad today of train running. So these are 3: ilm al-yaqeen in Arabic, ayn al-yaqeen, knowledge of certainty, seeing of certainty, and reality, and haqq al-yaqeen as well. Now, so associated with that, so if you look at the presentation now, I hope so. In this specifically, the objective for this this training session we'll be doing as well is to have some kind of experience of seeing and taste. Now, like I said, if you remember, there are different levels within that as well. So do not worry. You all are capable of doing certain level. And this only helps to go to the next level and improve. I'm going to touch on that. So just have to trust in this. You know, just have that ilm al-yaqeen in what I'm saying. Yeah? Just have the ilm al-yaqeen in what I'm saying. Inshallah, Allah will bless us with further. So in this journey, we're going to obviously have these things, strengthening our Imām, focusing closer to the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and so on. So to have the see and taste, we have to have a strong intention, very pure intention, be like an open vessel, focus on the now, what we're training on. Then there's some practices that we have to learn. We're going to go through that in terms of how to do the purification we've touched upon before by Asatizas. Then there are some obstacles. So sometimes what happens is some people don't experience straight away or takes time, because what we identify as trainers and through the blessing and teaching of Shaykh Ahmad al-Bah and the Mashaykh, that sometimes we can pinpoint some common obstacles. So for example, it could be to do with we've been doing major sin, our relation with my parents are not good, my relation with my wife is not good, our financial irregularities, I'm not being honest with the government, or it's not completely halal, or could be all of those major obstacles. That something could be a blockage as well. But then we have to go away, work on it, so that Allah Ta'ala has blesses us, or we value someone else's rights. Generally, don't worry about it. We can go through that. And this purification of that whole course helps you to unblock all that anyway. Then there's something called Latifa, spiritual centers. Now, it's a concept maybe it's foreign to you. What they're basically saying is that as a human being, like we've discovered the 5 components, many of you are unaware. Oh yeah, there's this as well, or even it's obvious. There are other things that exist physically that we do not know. And medically as well, how the food gets processed, how the nervous system works, and the digestive system works as well. Many, even the experts, sometimes they discover things, how the food is regulated, and so on. So that's to do with the physical body. What to say about we as a spiritual, the other aspects that exist within us as well. There are certain lights that exist. And it's a common knowledge. Many cultures of the past, many traditions have referenced this. They call it their own whatever name. We can call it like spiritual centers or latifa, like very light. Latifa, very light, very halka, that exists. It's like an aura. You hear people say, oh, he's got this aura around him, or I've got this vibe. These are not just common saying that has a real meaning to it. People never actually knew what it is. Somebody said, I got this vibe and go to it. Or, for example, like, although you have a darker complexion, if he's a pious person, what do they say? That, oh, there's a nur on his face. Although he's not fair, like a white person, but you can feel that he's got nur on his face. Someone who does completely sins all the time, the evil person, the certain darkness you can feel, something in the heart that tells you this. So there's some of these other faculties that we've not really discovered yet, or the science, modern science haven't. Maybe in 300 years' time they will. Like, let's give you an example. 300 years ago, if you were to say to our elders and the people that something concept of Wi-Fi, or what do you call it, or a frequency, radio frequency, you reckon they'd believe us then? 200 years ago, we said there's something called within the whole atmosphere, there's something called Wi-Fi, and you have the correct device can connect. I can speak to people from like thousands of miles away. You can do a video call. That's you going crazy. What are you talking about? You're a sorcerer. You're playing with magic. It's a modern kind of phenomena. Likewise, in a few centuries ago, and scientists are already tapping into it. They said they said some kind of telepathic communication you could do. It's to do with the power of the mind. That when you think, sometimes people from another animals, they communicate like that. They're slowly tapping into this, more to it than meets our eyes in terms of who we are. The certain lights, certain, like I said, vibes, certain aura that exists as well. And this is no mean feat. So an indication of that, Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam also indicated, the existence of light as well. And he sallallahu alaihi wasallam used to make dua And we still have got scholars that tell you as well. Specifically, for example, they indicated that even the spirit itself, the nafs itself, they're not visible. They're not physical in that sense. It's metaphysical, isn't it? If like the materialists who don't believe in all this or the existence of human being, they sometimes do wonder, okay, what is this life? What is the source of energy? How come it is that someone's heart is functioning well, the brain is functioning well, the lungs are well, all the vital organs are working, but sometimes they die and they're completely fit and healthy. And normally they say it's organ failure or something failure, because of that, the death has happened. But sometimes all the organs are fine. In fact, they preserve the body so that they could do a transplant, a kidney transplant or a heart transplant as well, because it's quite fit. So if a heart is the origin of a person, we say heart that pumps the blood of someone like that, and heart is functioning well, how is it that someone passes away, if you transfer his or her heart to someone who's alive, he or she still lives with transplant. Whereas the dead person, it doesn't work in him anymore. So even they're trying to figure out, obviously there has to be more than that's what's physical, in medical sense as well. So just to, as a blessing I mentioned, it's in a Muslim Sharif and Bukhari as well, that Prophet Muhammad used to make dua as he would walk to Fajr. And Ustaz Harun is not here, that the Shah Ahmad the Bab would actually physically teach them to learn. They'd go to, like, for example, in Jama'ah, and like in Dawah tour, so they'd walk and they said, this is the dua I should read. And then they read, and then next day they say, okay, now start reading. And they look at each other, I've not memorized the dua. So there was one brother who was of a Punjabi, Pakistani origin. He thought he was smart, and he starts saying it in Punjabi, in his own language. Oh Allah, bless me with light, bless my organs with light, and so on. They said, it's good, but we've not learned the actual dua of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So the meaning of it goes something like that, like, oh Allah, place within me heart light, and upon my tongue light, within my ears light, within my eyes light, place behind me light, place in front of me light, place above light, and beneath me light. Oh Allah, bestow upon me light. So imagine this, like an aura. Imagine there's a light above, light below, light in front, light on the side, and within the body as well. There's another version that says about place light on my, like laham, what you call it, the hair, the skin, the flesh, and so on. Now, for you and I, maybe we're very materialistic. We never even thought about this. What's this light on? What is this concept? But that's what I'm saying is this latifa, this light exists. Could be in different colors. And in fact, I'll just go through now. They are different color and they have different meanings. In fact, we normally summarize as 7. And these are the lights within the body that if you purify, if you cleanse, that helps the spirit, the ruh, to have that flight, to have that journey. Now, they're in different colors for a reason as well. They actually have a physical meaning to it. But they're not only 7. 7 are like the main arteries of the body, but there are many, many. Many mashayikh said there are more than 360. Can you imagine if every hair, every skin, your blood, your flesh, your bone have certain lights and aura to it, and yourself and above and beyond, then obviously there'll be so many hundreds of lights within us as well. So that's something that, alhamdulillah, you can purify, which supports and helps the spirit to have certain kind of that journey, that flight, inshallah. So that you can see in the diagram, you can have that some kind of quote unquote transfer spiritually, and to have that see and taste, inshallah. Then through the Muraqabah means contemplation or deep meditation. I don't have the presentation here, but the scientists have actually done research work, and I presented it as well. That your sleep patterns, the different level of sleep pattern. Who knows this? Has anyone studied this? That there's actually REM cycle, then there's a deep cycle, and so on. Now there's different level, like alpha, beta, theta, and so on. And there is a state, they say, that where your frequency, brain frequency, is very much reduced. When you sleep, it goes down to, let's say, only 3 or 4 or 5, the frequency level. And when you awake, there's about 19 or 20 levels. It's very, very, the brain activity, basically, they measure the brain activity. It's very, very, I could say, small scale, but they've actually narrowed it down. Between fully awake and completely asleep, there is a state where you're conscious that you're awake, you can see, feel the surrounding, but you're not fully awake as well. It's called theta state. And it's about 12 and 13. They say sometimes that your subconscious starts to emit certain knowledge when you're at that state as well. So that's why people sometimes experience things, the outer body experience and so on, when they're in that state. So what happens is that thinking, deep thinking or muraqabah or meditation, that helps to bring down to the state so that the interference of your brain thinking, your body is functioning, and all the other awareness, you lower that. You like close the light, close your eyes, and so that you can attune your mind, brain activity and the spirit, which we know, to have this more spiritual experience, inshallah. So in this, like I said, muraqabah means meditation, basically. It comes with the name of Allah, Ar-Raqib, that Allah is over watchful. So we actually, we've been, focusing on watch over Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's sifat, our blessings. So in that, then inshallah, start to then tap into the lighter. Lataif means light. Not light in the sense of brightness, but means a very light in scale as well. Because you cannot see physically. So we can work on this. And in Islam, this concept is very not foreign, because remember, we as a believer, we are told, as Surah Al-Araf and so on, that we should remember Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in every state and with every body of ourselves. We should remember Him in standing and sitting down and lying down and so on. So isn't it wonderful, like I mentioned, that if I can get my mind to remember Allah, my body organs to remember Allah, those Latifa, this light, this spiritual entities to also remember Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Because our aim is to remember Allah, not to do anything other fancy or any of the people of culture what they do, but it's for us to remember Allah and help us to help the spirit to have that experience, inshallah. So as I shown before that, when you have the proper spiritual experience, you can actually traverse to different realms, like the Miraj of the ascension of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So I'm not going to go too much into that. There's so many levels, as you might appreciate, inshallah. Then different practices we do. One we call Muraqabah dua, i.e., we learn a special technique that we directly connect to Allah and we have conversation, like He's our best friend. Because imagine, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is most closely being to us, is closer to us than our jugular vein. When we go to issues or difficulty in life, what happens is, when we speak to our best friend, someone who can confide with, we feel relaxed, we feel relieved, although he or she cannot really help me. But just the fact of relating something. Imagine if you can develop that relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, know that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has a power to change as well. It's not just speaking to Him, but He has a power to change the circumstance. Then also we learn from something about, although we're not going to focus on it, how to improve our salah, that we have the devotion, the khushu and khuzu, and especially the spiritual connection, as though we are having our own journey. As-salatu min rajul mu'minin, as it says commonly. Imagine we go back in time in Masjid Nabawi, offering prayer from our Imām, that could be our teacher, whoever it is, and they're taking us to the journey. Isn't that wonderful? Rather than thinking about kebab house when praying namaz, and what ice cream we're going to eat, and it's very hot outside. Imagine our spirit is engaged elsewhere. So these are also taught in other retreats as well. Muraqabah Muhammad, you have a special connection to Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, so on and so forth. Now, two things are very important in all this spiritual journey. Number one is to rely on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It's not because of my deed or my certain ability or certain knowledge I have or maybe certain capabilities I have, therefore I will achieve. No, complete and utter reliance on whom? The what? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Exactly. Nothing happens. Remember in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that for us, even taking a blinking of the eyelashes is very easy. We do it thousands of times a day. But if they have an issue, any doctors here? No? Or any optometrists, or you're studying, right? Now you're going to study that some people do have an issue with cannot blink. Sometimes become very, you could say, very painful or very sore because of that eye issue and so on. Ask those people that how difficult is it to take one blink? Because we do that all the time. Now, so for some people, the ability to blink also can stop as well due to certain illness. Something that we take for granted, imagine someone who's suffering from that. They become the most difficult thing to do. So what does that prove to us? That nothing is easy or hard except that which Allah makes it easy for us. Or is everything is hard for us? And if Allah makes easy, then the most difficult things can be easy for us as well, because we're relying on Him and putting our effort where we want. Now, also another thing is to understand is I'm sitting here teaching about, we've met our teacher Ahmed Abbar. Now, like I said, you can learn how to purify, master your body. Is a teacher there. He can go to coaches to learn how to master and learn the power of positivity. The coach who teaches that. If you want to learn Arabic, we got ustaz here. If you learn Arabic, they teach you how to learn Arabic. So they start with Ali Bata, Sa, then the Nazara, they're seeing and learning. Then, for example, after a while, you get another group of teachers who actually become expert in tajweed. Because sometimes you learn Ali Bata, Sa, how to join words and sentences. They might not be expert in tajweed, they just know how to read. And the teachers, many people learn like that. But then they realize, oh, my reading is not very good. I need to go and spend time with who spent years mastering tajweed and art of reciting Quran with tartib. Let's go and spend time with him. And so we learn that. Or then I want to further my Islamic studies. I want to learn the hadith, the Arabic, the usul, the fiqh, the commentary of the Quran. It's a full science. Each time in any school, there might be a different set of teachers who are expert in this. Could be the same person, it could be most likely, especially in university. You better know, at university, very rarely, the person who was at school, teaching in your school, he's also at university teaching you there, very rarely. If you go to that institution, I'd question that institution. But why is my school teacher doing here in this university? That means it's a bogus university. It doesn't really, pay the fees they can pay for. So when you go specializing, you get a different group of teachers that specialize in the subject so that you can master that. Likewise, you can have a fiqh teacher, Quran teacher, tafsir teacher, Shaykh al-Hadith who teaches you, become master in Hadith and so on. And in sciences, this tazkiyah, you can have a teacher, a Shaykh like Shaykh Ahmed Abbar. This spiritual journey that we're learning, would not be a teacher. How can I learn on my own? Is it going to be someone to help and guide us? Yes, Shaykh Ahmed Abbar is actually expert in this as well, because chain of permission from their Shaykh and from their Shaykh and all the way back to Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, to the Sahabas, Imam Hussayn and so on. Specifically in the chain of permission, if you look, Imam Hussayn and Imam Hassan comes in the chain of permission as well. That's why so much reverence and respect is given to those, the princes of paradise. So this mode of learning. Now let me see if you can guess. How does this mode of learning happen? The spiritual journey. So the whole thing is spiritual in nature, right? How does the learning happen, do you think? Zakaria? Yeah, so spiritually one can help. This is only for help and advice and guidance. Your relation with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is direct. Remember, worship and ilah is someone that he's got the quality of being a God, ilah, and he's got the sifat, and we worship to him. When you have intention to worship to him, this is your ilah. And that's no one man except for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So it's a very easy concept. When people get confused, isn't it shirk, this and that? No. Because you worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, who's the quality of being an ilah and all the sifat, and intentionally worshiping him. No one has that right except Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That is ilah, that is my Rabb, that is my Lord. So the form of learning in this classroom setting is more spiritual in nature. And we're going to go through that. It's like, for example, give you an analogy is that Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, where is Sayyidina Musa alayhi salam now? It's not a trick question. Yeah, it's obviously in Barzakh, of course. Yeah. Where is, for example, like all the other Anbiya, for example, Sayyidina Hud alayhi salam, Sayyidina Ibrahim alayhi salam, where are they? Yeah, of course. Now, I'd be really surprised someone said I actually met one of them. So they're all in Barzakh. But in the journey of Ascension of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, have they met all these prophets on the way? Did they meet them or not? Do you know the story? They've actually met them. In fact, Sayyidina Musa is we should really thank him for one reason, or one specific reason as well. Do you know what that is? Because we'd be praying every other minute, every other hour. Now, if it wasn't for his intervention, who knows the story about this prayers and what favor did you do? Ahmed, do you know? Oh, got you this time. Got you this time. You think you know it all. Okay, mashallah. Yeah. Yes.
On the night of Miraj, back down. Islam asked him, "What have you brought for your ummah?" Something along those lines. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And then the Prophet said, "I have brought 50 prayers."
Yeah.
Prophet Musa said, "This is too much. Go back up to Allah and ask him to decrease it."
Yeah.
And the Prophet went up again, and when he came back down, the Prophet Musa asked, "How much do you? How much prayer,
Reduced it.
How much prayer now?" And the Prophet Musa said, "Only 45."
Okay, let me ask you a question. Let's fast track it. So, how many times did Rasulullah go back up and come down in total? How many times? It's not a trick math question.
9.
Yeah, thank God you didn't say 10. Or you just said there's no prayer because they've all been forgiven. Some people think that's why they don't pray, maybe. So basically 9 times he went up, and the other convocation that took place as well. And did that happen in Medina Sharif or Makkah Sharif? Where did that happen? Whether at the back? Where did it happen? Yeah, in the other realm, in Barzakh, Alam Barzakh, if you understand the word of grave as well, beyond that as well. So that shows that there's more to it. Sometimes these things can't happen in interaction, or you have to learn the connection, how to connect, and so on. So this teaching, in a spiritual sense, that what happens is the whole teaching happens in a spiritual realm as well. So that's why sometimes you get to see in a dream, a pious is advising you. You obviously make dua to Allah to guide you, and so sometimes you see like indication through a dream, to a vision, and these things. They indicated that these are the people who can help you and train you as well. So in this case, when we do practice this meditation, Muraqabah, we also spiritually try to connect to the spirit and the trainer, which is Shah Ahmed Dabagh in this case. It's like a trainer is teaching in a spiritual classroom, that's all. We're still teaching you who the Lord is. This is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the Prophet and so on. So we met Shah Ahmed Dabagh earlier. He's a master of all the sciences of tazkiyah, especially the Quran and Sunnah. He's got long chains in hadith and so on. But specifically focuses on the tazkiyah, the purification, and have the special connection to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the spiritual journey. He focuses on that. So very easy in this classroom. How does it happen? How does it start? Is that when we actually do this spiritual training, you just feel or imagine the teacher's with you and is guiding you. Like Sayyidina Jibreel alayhi salam. What was his function in night of Miraj? Although Prophet Muhammad is the greatest creation, is the highest human being in the whole of creation, he is the Nabi, is a Rasul, and is the greatest of all Rasul as well. But what was the function of Jibreel alayhi salam? What was he doing in the night of Miraj? Not only message, but was he accompanying him in the journey? Was he guiding him, telling him, for example, when the opportunity came, someone offered him wine or a milk, he said, "No, don't do this, don't take this." So he was being guided, although obviously his relation was with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, going to the journey, but he needed a guide just to guide him to the path, like a guide you have like a sat nav, like in this modern day and age. So trying to make you concept to understand that. So spiritually trying to imagine and think the teacher is with you and guiding you, and then you see this is slowly happening as well in the Muraqabah. And that's why very important that this happens led by Shaykh Ahmed Dabagh, or the students who've been trained how this happens spiritually as well. So mashallah, like Ustad Abdul Rahim, Ustad Harun, they're actually trained by Shaykh Ahmed Dabagh. They actually gave us some of the training and duties as well, that you can also train people how to do that. And they have a complete science they've learned. And you can all learn as well, by the way. It's not just exclusive to some people. Once you've learned this science, you can also learn to be trainer to train others as well. There's full science, there's full permission, and it takes place. And it becomes quite a live thing as well. And once you're into that realm, it becomes a completely different world. So that's why once you get introduced to this world and you learn the science and techniques, then what happens is the whole world becomes very, very adna, meaning very, very lowly, because so many things to look forward to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the akhirah and so many things as well. So the trainers are specifically trained and then given permission that they can also help, but under the guidance of Shaykh Ahmad Dabbas. So Shaykh Ahmad Dabbas becomes the key person to help you because he's an expert in this field to go to the journey, inshallah. So we'll teach you how this happens, inshallah. So just very quickly, any questions so far? Anything you want me to clarify? And I'm going to go straight into how to energize these spiritual centers so that we can have that in a practice in the next session and do the Muraqabah and the meditation and see if we can connect, have the spiritual experience, inshallah. Any questions so far? Any clarification? I need the Atik, I think, here somewhere. Anything you want me to clarify or just go through? Maybe it's too much or maybe confusing. Anybody? Please do ask. Just load up that presentation for me. This one. Yeah, that's one. That's it. Thank you. Okay, that's fine. If you have any question, you can throw at me anytime. You don't have to wait till the end. Now, let me quickly show you. You know, I talked about that these spiritual centers exist, have a certain colors and meanings to it. It is true. Can you see them on the screen now? Young man Ahmed, can you see them? So they're indicating that some of these major ones which we focus on, there are more, like I said, more than 360. Imagine in every hair of your body and every organ and every bone and so on. So these things also exist. Remember, these are not the end goals. We're not really interested in that. We're interested in that, learn them how to remember Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and help us to have the spiritual journey and flight. That's the more of importance here, not the colors and they also have a meaning as well, by the way. They in fact have a direct meaning to your life and what sin you do, what sin you're involved in, and how it affects you spiritually. You know, the certain darkness. And remember, I talked about that someone got nur on the face, you can feel because pious person. If they commit so much major sin, sometimes feel the bad vibe from him. Is because of these things. It emits certain light, and these colors has a meaning as well in reference to that specifically. So they're not like just out of thin air. They actually have a real life meaning, and it affects certain way. And that's why certain sin you do, you feel certain effect in your body as well, due to the evil effect of the sin or the light of the remembrance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the ibadah and worship we do. So these are the 7, the major ones which we focus on. That helps us to purify, cleanse, and have the spiritual flight then, which I'll go through. It's going to be quite technical because that's some information now we need to learn so that in the next session after Asr, we'll be practicing for the first time today, inshallah. And one of the ustads will come and guide you, so you don't have to worry about if you forget, but more about understand the process, inshallah. So there are 7, you can see. Red one is in your navel area, below your belly button area, you know, where your groin is. That's red in color. That's a certain, and let me indicate to you, to do with shahwa and desire and so on. Then there's an orange, which is in your belly button, in your navel area. So it's like a pipe. Imagine cross section of that person is a pipe. It starts at the front and goes to the back. So Ahmed, come here. Imagine he's a young, sinful, sinless child. Come on, stand towards them on the side, sideways. That's it. So imagine cross section. So I'm saying this is like the pipe, like that is going across all his body from the front to the back. That's what these represent. So you have each section of each point, different colors. Yeah, 7. Okay, thank you. You can sit down now. So the red at the bottom where your navel is, then the orange where your stomach is, then the yellow, the orange is where your belly button is, yellow is your stomach is. You know what, everyone, the whole aspect, some people are bigger than others. Not everything is your stomach. Did you know that? Basic fact. Or who doesn't know this? Jawad? No. You don't know? Do you know where your stomach is and where your intestines are? Oh, yes. Yeah. Okay. So the stomach is like a top portion of your, the midsection, yeah, which is yellow. And then your chest area, middle of the chest, is your green. Then the light blue is in your throat, going all the way to the back of your neck. Then the dark blue indigo is between your forehead, where your eyes are, to the back of your head. And there's a white one, it's a crown one, like I'm, for example, wearing this turban. White one is the white, not this color. White is called a crown latifa. Those are the 7 that exist as well. And so what we do is we try to purify each one so that we can have the spiritual flight and spiritual journey, inshallah. So let me just go through again. Okay. So as you can see, so what we do is we remember Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and through the light that coming from the name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we purify each one. How that happens is we imagine the name of Allah shining, Allah above, and sorry, this is maybe right. Just to scroll up because I'm not used to this Apple. And let's scroll up. Okay, that's fine. Well, thank you. That's fine. Thank you. So, so again, show you this. So as you can see, different colors showing in that person. Could be anybody. And so those 7 that exist, I told you. So how do we clean this? We clean this in 3 stages. How many stages? 3 stages. First stage is very simple. Imagine the name of Allah shining above, and from the name of Allah, white light is coming down. Remember the dua of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam I mentioned? They asking dua to be blessed. So imagine the light. You can imagine the light is coming down from the name of Allah and going through your top of your head, and they're going all the way down, cross section all the way down to all of these latifas, all the way to the bottom. So as you breathe in with your nose, light is coming down, is cleaning everything. And then as you breathe out with your mouth, what happens is imagine all the darkness, all the worries, everything else, it's all leaving, exiting your mouth. So you breathe in, white light is entering, purifying, and as you breathe out, all the darkness, all the evil is leaving your mouth as well. So you're having this cleansing effect by the name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So that's the first stage. I'm going to make you practice after this. So just for a few seconds now, I want you all to close your eyes and see if you can just imagine the name of Allah above. The light is now coming down from the name of Allah, penetrating through your head. And take a deep breath in with your nose as the light is coming down. I'm going all the way to, like I said, to the bottom, and then take a deep breath out with your mouth. And imagine you like exiting or discharging all the darkness, all the worries, all the things that's going against Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, or all the distraction as you breathe out. So like this. Releasing everything, inshallah. Okay, you can open your eyes now, inshallah. So that's the first stage we're going to practice, first level. And then second level is, and the second stage is where we individually, each 7 individually try to purify, try to clean. How does that happen? So for example, we start with the red one at the bottom. Imagine that Allah's name is red, a very pure name of Allah. And as you breathe in, red light is coming down as you breathe in, is entering through our nostrils, then flowing down, and where the red latifa is the energy center, is entering there. And as you breathe out with the mouth, you imagine it's leaving from the back as though it's purifying it. So leaving from the back like that. So what's your name? Yeah, you're not spoken at all. Okay. So can you tell me where the red one is? And below the navel, the groin area. Yeah. So imagine, I'm going to tell you, imagine the name of Allah is red in color. And as you breathe in, red light is coming down. Just close your eyes and imagine that. And light is now entering through your nose as you breathe in through your nose. And then it's flowing down inside. And where the red, the spiritual center is below your navel, is entering there. And then breathe, take a deep breath out with your mouth. And imagine it's leaving from the back, cleaning it, that's all. It's a spiritual effect, because remembering with the name of Allah to purify, asking Allah to purify. You can mention it in your heart, Allah, purify this, make it better, and so on. You can make dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Okay, so that's red. We do for a few minutes. After that, we do the same process in this stage. We do with the orange one. Same process. Breathe in, light is coming down, entering through the nose, flowing down, where the orange is on the belly button area is entering there, and as you breathe out, is leaving from the back, purifying the orange one. Then after the orange one, we move on after a few minutes into the yellow one. Where's the yellow one, young man? Where the stomach is, yeah. Just below your chest. So again, the name of Allah is yellow now because it's coming from the pure source. The names of Allah, the yellow color, is coming down, entering through your nose, flowing down, entering through your, where the yellow Lataif is top of your stomach, and then cleaning that as you breathe out, long breath out, is leaving from the back. And then we then move on to the green one, the chest area. Same process, breathe in, going through your nose, coming down, going inside the green Latifa. As you breathe out, leaving from the back, purifying that as well. Then we move on to the next one. Which is the next one? Please don't all shout out at once. What's after green? The throat one. What color?
Light blue.
Light blue, yes. Same process. Breathe in through your nose, entering through your nose, flowing down, going to your throat. And as you breathe out, is leaving from the back of the neck. And then we do the dark blue, sometimes indigo as well, some people see. Dark blue, in this case, dark blue one is slightly different. As you breathe in, it doesn't come through your nose because above your nose, it goes directly inside through your forehead. And as you breathe out, it leaves from the back of your head. As is explained there, as you can see, is leaving from the back of the head as you breathe out, inshallah. And then the white one, exactly the same. You breathe in, the light is coming down, entering to top of your head, the white, the spiritual center, cleaning that, what's in the mind. And as you breathe out, is leaving from the back of the head, cleaning that as well. So that's your second stage done, all 7 individual ones. Any questions so far? Any clarification? Anything you want to say? Are you clear? Good. I'm going to ask you later. Okay, so that's second stage done. Third stage, imagine that when you have a shower. First of all, you go in the shower, obviously after doing farais of ghusl, if you need to do wajibat. Well, I'm not going to test you and embarrass yourself saying how many farais are in ghusl. We all know, right? Yeah, do you know? Go on then. What's the first phase of ghusl? Okay, that's actually sunnah. Yeah, that's good. Good, right? But you know how to do shower now. Have you been taught? What happens if one side of your arm becomes stays dry? What would you do? Tell your mom. Yeah, good idea, isn't it? Tell your mom, I'm dry. What shall I do? This arm's still dry. Yeah. So if it's dry, then just wash and make sure all parts of your body is wet and is you know, what do you call it? Roll down your skin. It doesn't stay stale in any way from head to toe, inshallah. So you do, for example, when you go in the shower, you wash your body first, then you apply soap or whatever, you know, that you have, any fancy stuff after that, and you rub it against your body, make sure it's all clean and especially in any, you know, tight spaces as well. And then third day, you pour water again, don't you? Or do you come out of the shower by then? Who does that? Wash your body, pour soap on, then walk out, that's it, done. So people do that when they go on, they lie down in the bathtub. Many people, they pour, you know, full of, you know, all this bath soap and everything else. They lie down there for a while. Half an hour later, they get up, go a towel, and that's it. Any one of you do this? If you needed to do ghusl, which is wajib, will that be sufficient? Why not? Waste of water. Yeah. And plus, you know, if you're more itchy, people do this after they're having a bath. You say, why? Because I'll just go soap in it. Say, disgusting. You still got soap in your body. You don't wash it off. So we wash it again to make sure it's all clean. So in this stage like that, we first of all generally clean and then go individually as well. And then again, third stage is what we do is we purify now and enlighten. So third stage is very similar. In the name of Allah above, we're breathing in, light is again coming down. And this time it's filling us up with light because we cleansed it. It's all about filling up with light. And it actually expands as well. We imagine that. As we breathe out, we feel lighter. So breathe in, breathe out, feel lighter. Breathe in, breathe out, feel lighter. Body's getting lighter and lighter, lighter. This is all foreign concept, I know, but once you practice it enough time, it becomes a reality as well. That 3 concept comes in. So what happens is that you feel lighter and lighter and lighter, although the instructor will say, you feel as though your body getting numb, your body is disappearing. You're not focusing on that anymore. You're so engrossed in remembering Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the process of purification that you don't even feel your body being here. For now, you have to imagine it. And then later on, you become so engrossed in remembering Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you could go into that state. And some people even like they go in a sleep-like state as well, because there's so much in peace and in remembrance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with the mind and the heart that you feel numb. So what we do practically as a practice, we say, like, imagine your legs are getting, disappearing, your body is disappearing, your chest is disappearing, your head is disappearing as well, as though you're completely now in remembrance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with your spirit, with your spiritual, like the brother here is completely disappeared now. Are you back?
Yeah,
It's a good feeling, isn't it, when you disappear like that? Yeah. Well, there's a two sign. Once you remember you still remember Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala when you wake up. That means that you really in your sleep or unconsciousness you're traveling and remembering Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. When you wake up, so what's happened? What happened? And where am I? That means you've fallen asleep, completely in slumber, completely in disconnection from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as well. That's an indication. So then the third stage, we enlighten. And as you can see, body, even those spiritual center then disappears as well. We don't even focus on that because my focus is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, not these things. So after that, what happens if you look at the screen? Even the body disappeared, the spiritual centers have disappeared. Only thing, imagine that, like I'm gonna have a spiritual journey now, spiritual flight. So imagine spiritual body in front of us, and we're ready to do transfer. This is all, I'm not foreign, but it's all about imagination for now. Once we transfer, we take a final golden breath, and then transfer like that, and go into the spiritual body. It comes in front of you. Imagine that, and you now start to travel. And then, inshallah, once you do that point, then remember the teacher here is a spiritual teacher, Aisha Ahmad Dabakh. Spiritually, then they take you to the journey, because all your senses are now closed. You're like tuned in, like I said, subconsciously to the heavenly worlds, the heavenly kingdom, to Allah, in remembrance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And as a guide, like I said, Sayyidina Jibreel, how he did so, he then guides you, takes you to different realms. Maybe you get to see the awliya mashayikh of the past, especially pay homage, respect, because especially those who taught us to the chain, we go and respect them as well, especially then go to Medina Sharif, maybe have spiritual connection with Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and go to that journey, Makkah, Aqsa and beyond, meeting the pious. Maybe some people meet the angels as well and continue to traverse the journey, inshallah. So these are the practices. Don't worry if you don't remember everything, because the instructor, he will go through step by step each aspect of it for you to really understand the process, how it happens. This is very technical. Once you get used to it, let me give you good news. Basically, we practice for a while. There's a time comes that you don't even need these things. You train so much that you have to intend and connect and spiritually traveling. And this becomes so prolific that you don't have to go to sleep to have that experience in your dream. You can translate it, you can have it in a wakefulness state as well, between sleep and awake, like you experience now. Imagine walking and say, brother, oh, I felt that I went to Medina Sharif. But then that could increase, where you become more and more alert. All you have to do is intend, close your eyes, and you're there. And this is the capability, this is the potential which you and I have. Imagine the potential we have. We come as a potential, we live as a potential, and we die with the potential, never exploring this. That's a human potential we have at our own level, of course. G.
So is this form like at the same time? Or?
So for as part of this retreat concern, we're going to practice it so they're used to the whole concept. Now, I'm just going to touch upon this whole thing, maybe very, very, overwhelming for you brothers. But what I'm saying is that that whole thing could happen in 3 stages. The whole seeing and tasting experience happens in 3 stages. Remember this. I'm trying to find that slide. Maybe it's not there. Okay. Back up. Whole thing can happen in 3 stages. So this following these spiritual entities, purifying it, and then traveling, transfer spiritually, find the teacher, and he guides you to the spiritual realm in the Miraj journey. It could happen in 3 stages. Number 1, and I'll explain to you why that is. Number 1, it could happen in your imagination level. This is also considered a spiritual journey. It's only beginning, baby level. Why? Because that helps you to go to the higher realm, higher level of experience. Now, why is imagination important? Ustad Harun touched upon earlier on today or yesterday, in fact, that remember the Hadith Jibreel again, that you actually worshiping Allah as though you see Him. As though, if you want to translate it, what does that mean? We don't know who Allah is. We can't really imagine Allah. Allah's beyond imagination. That's our belief, Aqidah. As though means that you have a certain conception, like you abstractly think Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala without thinking the form of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So it's almost as though you actually are pretending to see Allah, although you can't see Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. As though, isn't it? They feel the presence, He's with me, He's seeing me, and the full of your heart is present. You're very much you're very much focused in remembrance and devotion to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So that's why the imagination concept is very important here, because that helps you, takes to the next level. You can do it at a thought level, even lower than that is a thought level. Imagination level is still quite high, because many people, they don't know how to imagine. Did you know that? Some people, they complain to us, said, oh, we don't know how to imagine. And they say, I never imagined it. They say, have you never imagined anything? Because no, I can't imagine anything in life. So if I were to ask you, imagine the name of Allah, can you do that? Just close your eyes, everybody. Close your eyes. Imagine Allah. Put your hand up or say if anyone struggles to imagine the name of Allah. Jawad?
No,
You can think, okay, that's good. That's important as well. How about you, Ahmed? Okay. Anyone else struggle to imagine the name of Allah? Okay, if you struggle, there's even help for you. You can always think it like Jawad said. You can always in your thought level. Because that in itself is a support as a starting point to this spiritual journey. So number one, very basic level is thought level. It's like a completely baby step. It's like you're learning to write A or Alif. Number two is imagination, where you're using certain kind of imagery now to an extent. And number three is a spiritual journey. Then automatically it transfers from being imagination to being spiritual, where things starts to happen without you trying to control it or trying to imagine it with your control. It happens automatically. That's the point. Your spiritual journey is begun as well. But make it easy for you. All these things you don't have to judge, because what is the measure that I can measure with? What is the gauge I can measure with? It's the role of the mentor and the asat, ustad, with your close working with them under the teacher, the guide Shah Ahmadabad. They can tell you when it's happening, what's not, until the point where it becomes quite obvious to you as well. They don't have to explain to you further. So that's why until that point, the spiritual is a sheikh who's taking your spiritual journey, and the mentor supporting you physically becomes crucial. Let me tell you, then I've given you 3 levels, didn't I? What was the first level? What level? You can do experience? Thought level. Walid, what's second one?
imagination level.
Sorry, Walid, what's your name? Oh, there's 2 Walid here, mashallah. Actually, this Walid here on the chair. Yeah, so there's a thought level, and slightly higher than that is what? Imagination level. And the third one is the spiritual journey takes by itself, takes its own journey, of course, itself as well. So don't get disappointed. Oh, I've started it, but only in my thought level, it wasn't really happening. Some people get, at the beginning, they say, oh, it's not happening as well. I mean, let me tell you something. Many of the ustad, asatas here, they've gone through the same process. Oh, it's not happening. Does it really happen? Where's my 4D experience? I was expecting a 4D straight away, or a 7D, or whatever it is. Everyone goes through that, but inshallah, by Allah's proposal, and remember, we like Allah's mercy. Everything is hard for us except that which Allah makes it easy for us, then it's easy as well. Now, I only mentioned 3. There are 20 different levels in this. There are how many 20 levels in this experience as well? There's a level that comes, it becomes 3D, not 4D, 3D. That is as though you're watching a movie or watching some kind of, the virtual reality glasses on, and you feel as though you're doing everything else. It becomes colorful and so on. Then it comes to a point where, without much intention, it happens straight away. Before I have to do all these practices, cleaning my latifa and so on, and after the process, then it happens. Then what happens that you become so trained, you practice yourself so much under the guidance and help from your mentor, that it happens through intention. You don't have to really put much effort in. Allah Ta'ala can bless you. And the 20th level is, this is for all of you, in my opinion, inshallah, you are capable of. Is how much you put effort in. 20th level is that you can witness the spiritual world what's happening and this world at the same time and live life like that. Imagine that if you can be that person. Now you witness as though it happened. Many of the, let me give you a secret, some brothers actually have tastes of that. And they see certain things and they get a bit worried or conscious of what's happening as well. And they go to Sheikh, this is happening, I'm walking and I can see all this happening. They say, look, these things exist. Even if you don't see, doesn't matter, just you look, carry on with your work without seeing they exist as well. Angels are there, sometimes the devils are there, so many things happen in the spiritual world as well. If Allah opens that door, window for you, then it's a blessing, take lessons from it. If not, get engaged with your Sharia and Sunnah and so on as well. But it increases your faith. It gives you another playing field. You don't have to fight the Nafs and Shaitan in this realm. You got bigger things to, alhamdulillah, aspire to as well. So it increases your faith. And what Tazkiyah, this purification does, it helps you to clean those darknesses, heavy darknesses like in our latifas, in our body. Sometimes they're so heavy that it pulls us down. And that's why you find it no pleasure in doing good deeds. Because the darkness is so much that is accumulated so much, it's like a heavy weight tied on like with chains on the ground. So waking up Fajr Salah 5 o'clock or 4:30 is impossible. And tell that person that tomorrow come 4:30, I'll give you a contract, you can get £50,000 salary. He'll be there for 3:30. No, I just want to make sure I don't miss the boss or anything like that. He'll have his suit, everything up, fully shaven, his best cologne on as well, smelling good. Normally what we do is, even if he mentioned masjid, he's got his nightie on, he's got a Superman suit on, he still doesn't bother to change. He put a cloak on as well, he's got like disheveled clothing, one up, one down. He bottomed up, didn't realize one going up there, one going down there, and he's saying Allahu Akbar like that. It's only Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Whereas if you interview with suit up, everything else. So that shows how much value Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as well. So inshallah, that we could be at the level where you can experience both worlds at your own wish. You can switch off as well if you want to as well. That's why one of the great Imām, the Imam al-Azmi called Sayyidina Imam Abu Hanifa, rahimahullah, he actually said that sometimes when you do go to wuzu place where people do wudu as well, he would see as the water is dripping off people's hands and faces, he would see the different darknesses, like streams of darkness and sins are dripping away. And he could tell by looking at the worst sins they were doing. But he was so merciful, he didn't want to see some evil from other Muslims. So he actually made dua to Allah, what do you call it, veil me. So I don't want to see this kind of darkness, people falling off the sins as well. That's why doing wudu has a benefit, if you have wudu, because why? It cleanses all the darkness from us. And that has a direct reference to your latifa inside, the aura, that the spiritual entities I'm talking about, those get cleansed as well. That's why when you actually do proper wuzu, ghusl, put perfume on, put good clothes on, you refresh, you do astaghfirullah, tawbah, and go to prayer, like in Ramadan and other times as well, Jum'ah, especially we prepare for that, you see your prayer is slightly different, although you've not really trained how to do khushu khuzu. Just by the physical preparation helps spiritually as well. Now imagine spiritually, if you learn how to purify and so on, how much of a better prayer or service that would be, inshallah, to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So any question? I've actually fast-tracked quite a lot. So just remember the 7 colors where they're based. We have to clean them in 3 stages. Transfer with the spiritual entity, find the teacher, carry on with the journey with the guide who's guiding us, the mentor, and then we're going to work on it so that our faith increases. So here, this helps to increase our faith, build our faith. And what purification does, what Shah Ahmad talked about before, i.e. your body and mind, it helps to build your character. In this, so the summary is, why people are moving away from deen? Knowledge is not insufficient. In fact, do Shah Google, anything like on a phone, on an app, you can get full Sahih Sitta, 6 books of Hadith, Quran, everything. So knowledge is available. We're in information age. Why are people slowly moving more towards dunya, more towards technology, more towards more destructions? It's because we do not know how to build our faith and keep up with it. We don't know how to do self-development and build our character as well. And in this retreat, you learn both, inshallah, at whatever level, be it thought, imagination level, and increase, inshallah. So just finally recap. Yes, young man, how many spiritual colors we're going to focus on? No, you're the young man. MashaAllah, 7. Where are they situated? Can you come and tell me where they are? You come. Just stand here, please. Just show me with your hand. You can use that as an aid. Just look at the audience. Yeah, you look at the audience. First of all, explain where they are.
So I believe red is over here.
Yeah, below your navel. Yeah. And
Orange
then
is over here.
just explain what that is. This is your belly button. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yellow is.
Yellow is just underneath your chest.
No, well, that's what your stomach is. Yeah. Green.
Green is at your chest. And the light blue is at your throat.
Throat goes to the back. There's like cross section. Yeah. Same as those.
And then the violet, I believe.
Dark blue. Just call it dark blue. Yeah.
Then the dark blue is inside of your forehead.
No, so it's the forehead is basically cross section all across your head. Yeah.
All across your head there.
Yeah. And the white one.
And white is just
above, floating above your head. Remember the dua mentioned about light above your head as well. It's floating above your head. So those are 7. And how many stages we purify these? What's the first stage? Ahmed? Huh? Yeah, and the light is coming down your throat, head, and purifying everything. And as you breathe out, it's leaving your mouth. Zakaria, what's the second one? You have to go each individual. Well, what's the second one? No. That's the third stage. Second stage is you clean each individual one. Breathing in, breathing out. Yeah, the teacher will go through, don't worry about it. And what's the third one? Hamza? Third stage. Now, before that, you imagine you charging up and enlightening yourself. As you breathe in, light is entering you, as filling you up and expanding like a balloon. Imagine you fill the balloon up as well. You're expanding it with light and mercy from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And as you breathe out, you feel lighter as you're dissipating. Your body, then the Lataif, everything disappears. And then you do golden breath to transfer to spiritually. And then with the teacher, find the teacher, just imagine the name or the image, and they'll take you to the spiritual journey, inshallah. Okay, any questions? Any clarification before we break faster? About 6 minutes. Yes, brother. Yeah. Directly goes to your head. When you do the individual ones. But otherwise, you go straight down from the top of your head, it goes all the way down. Yeah. Anyway, don't worry, the instructor will go through step by step as you practice. After a few sessions, you get more used to it as well. So if you can do it by thought level, by then on imagination, that'll be great help. After us, straight after us, all come back up, we're going to be practicing this. Now it's going to be a practical session. One of the stuff, we will do a very quick recap, how to do it so that you refresh in your mind, then go straight into practice. Is that okay? Yeah, Ustad Ibrahim? Okay. So we can now break for Salah because, so as soon as I finish, please come back and be refreshed and ready. And it should be minimum movement. You have to be still and no, again, pain in my legs or whatever. Stay still, sit on your chair or on the floor, whatever you are, inshallah.
Inshallah,